You have to fail multiple times to find the right way. But once you find that right flow, and you're gonna be more successful.
Resilience is kind of understanding that like bad things will happen and that like you can turn those into opportunities to grow and become a stronger person.
When I was young, I was one of the only women in climbing. I was the kid at the gym climbing with all the older dudes. I think for me it was sort of like a proving ground.
I've had those struggles too, that people have been upset that there's been a black person in their gym. And I'm resilient because I don't let it stop me.
Adversity teaches you to fail properly. And if you're not willing to accept failure, then you're never going to learn to grow.
Bro, whatever you can throw at me, like, you're not going to take me away from what I want to do. You can't stop me.
Whether you're alpine climbing or cragging after work, Gnarly Nutrition is here to help you push your possible.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow, it's just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the TruBlue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you know, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves. And yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
Good evening and welcome to the USA Climbing 2023 National Team Trials presented by YETI. We are in Austin, Texas, where the best climbers in the country have gathered to compete for a spot on the Boulder and Lead National Team. USA Climbing is excited to be at the beautiful brand new Mesa Rim Climbing Center in Austin, Texas. If you're in the area, y'all should come check it out. I'm Megan Martin here with three-time Canadian national champion Allison Best. Thank you so much for joining me in the booth here today.
I'm so excited to be back one more time for the lead portion of our men's final here tonight.
I mean, it is so cool out here. Look at the lights here. I love the fact that we're dimming the lights. We've got these cool features. Shout out to Glenn with the lights. This is such a cool vibe. We have a really big crowd here tonight, and we are at the most important part of our show, the lead final portion of this competition. After this, the national team will be decided. So much at stake here tonight. We have this huge crowd. And this combined format, the first time we're doing it here, so the Boulder and Lead discipline is combined. We're taking points from Boulder, adding them to Lead. The top 5 men here will be selected to the national team. 3 climbers you did not see over the last few days, Natalia Grossman, Brooke Rabitou, and Colin Duffy. They are pre-selected, already on the team. So the 5 men selected tonight will join the 5 women selected last night and those 3 pre-select athletes. So you want to be on the national team so that you can compete in the World Cups this season, because ultimately your goal is to get to that 2024 Paris competition at the Olympics.
And the basic gist of lead climbing is the same. The farther up the route, the more points you're going to get. But as far as the scoring breakdown goes, there's a new scoring for the combined format, the top being worth 100 points and the scores going down from there. However, similarly to as we've seen before, it is the top 8 men from the semifinal round. There is 1 route and 1 attempt and a 6-minute timer on the clock. So the athletes do have to try to get to the finish hold within that 6-minute time period.
Exactly, and right now the men are in their preview of that route. They have 6 minutes to preview the route. They can talk to each other. They can bring out binoculars. They can bring out a pen and pencil if they want to draw the route, if they'd like to. I honestly have not seen that in a really long time. Another look at the crowd behind them, really interested in what they're going to do tonight. And here is the rank right now. So this is the rank after the Boulder round, and these are the scores from overall. So those Boulder round scores have been added to that national team ranking. So that's also nationals from 2022. Plus, some of these athletes competed in the World Cups last season, so they have bonus points added. So that's where those scores are coming from. You can look at that spreadsheet at usaclimbing.org under the Team USA tab, and then under there it says national resources. So if you look there, there's a whole spreadsheet. If you're really into spreadsheets, I know some people are, you can hang out there and check out how people are doing. So we do have new lead scoring.
I was just going to say a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown of the lead route. Ideally, in this new scoring, with the top being worth 100, every route would have 100 holds, but that is not a luxury we are afforded. That would be a little bit too restrictive for our route setters. And because of that fact, because every lead route has a different amount of holds, the route is scaled from the top to the bottom, with the top being worth 100 and the bottom being worth 0.
And so right now you're looking at those points that you can earn. So first place at the National Team Trials event gains you 1,200 points to add to that score that we showed you before. So right now we have those scores reflecting where their placement is from the Boulder round, but that could all change. So those top 5 men could change after what happens in the lead round. So lots of points up for grab. 1,200 points for first, 966 for second. And it just breaks down from there. So we really won't know. There's just so many scenarios. We can't predict any of them. But depending on how people do on the route, we might know some scenarios ahead of time, so we might not. And then bouldering finals were extremely exciting. Very creative boulders. This was a great top here from Nathaniel Coleman. Really creative beta here with that stack for the knee bar finish. The crowd went absolutely wild. He mouthed the "oh baby." He was super excited to top that. The first top of the night, actually, followed quickly by Zach Galla here, the only athlete to actually top this boulder, proving to be very difficult. We saw a couple of men drop the top there. Sean Bailey here with a little different beta at first to get to that pinch hold, but then going with the same stack and knee bar that Nathaniel did, which was also pretty exciting.
Zach Galla here we see at the top of the same boulder we just saw Sean and Nathaniel on, but doing it a little bit differently, just using his pinch strength there on that finish hold, getting both hands on it. He was the only athlete in the boulder final to have 2 tops. Again, we see Dylan Countryman here executing the top of this boulder nicely as well. That was his only top of the round. And
sigh of relief there.
It was a relatively low-scoring boulder round. That will put a lot of pressure on this lead route, but there are also a lot of really strong lead climbers in this final, and there was always going to be a lot of pressure on this second half of the event.
So true. It kept us on our toes for sure. And we are in the new Mesa Rim Austin gym. They have their grand opening on March 7th, so we're here even before that. I gotta say, I've been in many gyms internationally, nationally, and this is one of the best gyms I've ever been in. It's huge. The wall angles are beautiful. There's so much space. I love the open space. Lots of windows, so lots of natural light. Obviously, it's darker here now, but earlier today we had so much beautiful natural light in here. So if you live in Austin, you should definitely check this place out.
And we've really packed this gym with a huge crowd here tonight. You can see how many people have come out for this show. This is a really important event. But as always, USA Climbing makes sure to put on a show and make sure that it's entertaining for a crowd at the same time.
Yeah, doing a great job. It's been really cool to see this event go down since this is the first boulder and lead combined event in the U.S. And you're getting a good look backstage right now. Nathaniel Coleman getting ready to come out for his attempt of the men's final route. He did qualify into finals in 8th place from the semifinal round, so he started off the boulder round and he will start off the lead round here tonight. Kind of a nice place to be. We talked about this a little bit in the women's competition the other day. When you come out first, you don't really have as many expectations, although Nathaniel being such a decorated athlete, 2nd place at the Olympics in Tokyo 2020, lots of expectations, but coming out first, there is that environment where every move you make, every clip you clip, everyone's excited to see you do it, so you really get the full attention of the crowd, and I think that that can really boost your confidence while you're climbing, especially if you're a climber who loves the crowd. And we saw Nathaniel in the boulder round really pump up the crowd before he started climbing, so he is one who would benefit from that.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to see Nathaniel compete at the Olympics in Paris in 2024. I'm assuming including Nathaniel himself. But in order for him to even try to start qualifying for that event, he needs to do well at this competition. He needs these points. He doesn't have bonus points or a good score at nationals to fall back on. So this is one of the more important lead routes in his career, maybe second only to the lead route that he did to get himself into finals at the actual Olympics.
Yeah, so he's been in a similar high-stress situation before on, honestly, the world's biggest stage as it comes to sports. So no stranger to that kind of pressure, already smoothly getting through this opening section now.
And he's one of those athletes at this point that I think has become, with this new scoring, or with this new format of 2 disciplines instead of 3, he's really become one of those athletes that sort of blurs the lines between being able to call them a boulder specialist, being able to call them a lead specialist. He's been working on his lead climbing a ton, and he is just as capable of being high up in the ranking for his lead climbing ability as he is for his boulder.
And I think he really thought about that when he decided to not really give too many goes on his final boulder in the round prior. Now he's moving into that zone of points where every scored hold now is worth 2 points, so he's past that 10 placard. So every scored hold that he grabs is worth 2 points. It's interesting because sometimes on these routes the first few holds aren't worth anything, but they actually were for this route. So holds 1 through 10 are worth 1 point, 11 through 30 worth 2, 31 through 60 worth 3, 61 through 100 worth 4 points, and then you get that extra 0.1 when, if you have a controlled hold, if you move off that hold towards the next hold, you get that movement score of 0.1 added to your total score.
And part of that decision to include that in the format was just that part of the difficulty of lead climbing is that the resistance builds as you go up. It gets harder and harder as you get higher and higher up the wall, as your fatigue builds, as your forearms get pumped. And so this scoring format really rewards every move that these athletes make at the top of the lead route.
Exactly, and he is inching closely up to that 30 placard, looking really good so far on the route. It has been really cool to watch the evolution of his lead climbing ability. I remember back in 2019 with the first combined invitational, watching a lot of the athletes have to do the boulder, speed, and lead disciplines, and to see where he is now in lead, like you said, he really blurs the line to whether he is a speed special or a lead specialist or a boulder specialist, because he really is just so good at both disciplines at this point.
Yeah, and you can really see that coming through here. He's looking relatively calm and collected, even though these moves are powerful, even though he's having to try really hard on each move. You can see here he's resting on this hold, pushing through those hard moves, and then taking a second to calm his breathing, to reset before pushing onward into whatever the next position he needs to be in.
Exactly, and he's now past that 30-point placard, which means every scored hold he controls now is worth 3 points. So getting really high up on this route with that 60-point placard really close to him. Honestly, reading this route so well and hasn't really shown a sign yet of looking too fatigued. Looks like he has a lot left in the tank. Maybe a little shake here in the legs and that drop knee, but still looks like he has some to give here. Little shake.
And really reminiscent of a World Cup final route. This route does travel a lot. Power scream from Nathaniel, trying to get his foot high up above his head. Will he go for that again?
Wow.
He does.
What a committing. Oh no, isn't able to get out of it, but really nice climbing from Nathaniel Coleman, setting the bar really high early on. And the fact that he came into this round with higher points than a lot of the athletes, I think only Galla ahead of him from the boulder round. He puts himself in a great position.
Okay, you can see this high foot method for him, really straining to get over that toe, push that knee forward over that shoe, and he just didn't quite get into the body position he needed to be in order to get to the next hold there. But really great effort from Nathaniel on a really complicated and long final route. As I was saying, it really reflects what they'll see at the World Cup level in a final round. And yeah, really great combined score from Nathaniel into the hundreds, which after a low scoring boulder round
is great.
Is a great score. And so 109.8. We'll see what that does for him in the overall ranking. And unfortunately for Nathaniel, all he can do now is sit in one of those chairs and watch everybody else and wait.
Yeah, and after that performance, he should still be pleased with how he did. I mean, he got really high up on the route, and now he can kind of just relax. This was a very long day for the men, so there is a lot on the line, obviously, but he did put everything out there that he could, so he has to be pleased with being able to perform so well in such a high-pressure situation.
Absolutely. Pressure does different things to different athletes, and Nathaniel rises under pressure like no athlete I've ever seen before, so that was a great performance from him.
He really does. And so Hugo Hoyer will come out for his attempt on men's number, well, there is no number, on the men's final route.
Men's one of one.
Men's one of one. Getting sucked back into the bouldering round.
It was only 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, what day is it? Hugo waiting for the go-ahead to look at the route again. He has about 40 seconds to refresh his memory with the route after that preview that he had earlier before Nathaniel climbed. 34.4 coming in as his score from the boulder round. Hugo, only 15 years old, but really having a breakout season with being able to get into both the lead and the boulder finals at nationals in 2022, just a few months ago in November, 4th in the boulder competition and 3rd in the lead competition. So really one of those youth athletes that has made a seamless transition into this elite competition.
Yeah, and it's really great to see these young athletes out here on the wall. I mean, mainly because it would be really great if this was Hugo Hoyer's day and he was able to make the national team. But if not, he still has a long career ahead of him. He has a lot more years of competing, a lot more things to learn. And I'm sure he's fighting as hard as he can for this national team spot. But it's really cool to see him come out with such a bang and to have such a presence on this circuit already at such a young age.
Yeah, that consistency from doing well in one series of competitions and then moving right into this one is really nice. Now, getting that World Cup experience at this young age, he has already had it on the youth side, but getting it on the elite circuit would be huge for someone of this age. Nicely into the 30s, so now every hold after this, 30 to 60, will be worth 3 points. So making some quick moves into this route, only 4 minutes and 32 seconds left on the clock, really making great use of his time honestly flying up this route. They start with a 6-minute clock, so plenty of time. Doesn't need to rush, but has a good tempo.
He hasn't clipped the draw by his foot,
which is a little bit of a precarious situation.
Does a good job of reaching down and making it happen. We'll probably do a double clip here.
Smart. Again, you know, clearly wise beyond his years and obviously experienced, like I said, in the youth circuit. He was 6th in lead at Youth World Championships this last year, so he definitely has a lot of experience on this kind of style of route. Obviously, on the elite circuit, it's a little more intense, but they do challenge the youth a lot. A little slip there.
It looks like it's a fairly restful transition, sort of from the left towards the right, towards that 60 hold there. But as soon as you hit that 60 hold, it looks like it's a whole different story. It really kicks up a notch in terms of intensity as soon as you get into the position that Hugo Hoyer is in now. That's just before where we lost Nathaniel Coleman. I think Nathaniel would have gotten a plus off of that 60, and I don't think Hugo would. But that is only a 0.1 difference between those two scores.
Yeah, very exciting closeness in the scores between them. It'll be interesting to see if we keep seeing a bit of that. So a 94.4 will be the combined score for Hugo Hoyer. Not able to break into that 100 range. Ideally a little bit of a better option if you can get there, but great climbing from Hugo, and I'm honestly just so excited to see where his career takes him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely one to watch, both for the rest of this competition and for the national rankings this evening, but just in general as he moves forward into hopefully the international circuit whenever that happens, but just into the rest of his career.
Exactly, and Xander Waller coming out for his attempt at the men's final route. He definitely was a little frustrated during the Boulder round, but I would guess that knowing that he still was able to get a good amount of points will help him feel a little more prepared for this lead round. 29.7, definitely on the lower side, but it could always be lower, so every point counts. He's really approaching that 30 range, which is obviously a little safer. Xander, a very talented lead climber as well. Another athlete that really blurs the lines of whether they are a boulder or lead specialist, just really that combined format, something that suits them well.
See him taking his time through this section. You've got little mini holds, stacks on stacks on these volumes here. And he's moving through them really well. Those holds are small, but in cut, and especially on, I shouldn't say in cut, small, but when they're on volumes like that, it does make them a little bit better. So although those holds look terrible, and they are, the athletes do get a little bit more purchase on them when they are on top of volumes and the angle changes a little bit.
Exactly. And Xander taking a moment to rest here. Always good to find those rests when you can in those more secure positions. I remember I think it was team trials, I don't know if it was a year ago or a couple years ago, he actually hurt his finger during the qualification round of leads. So he's battled some injuries over the last few years here and there. So it's nice to see him in a healthy state. Again, back in the final. It's been a couple years since he's been in a final at one of these competitions, and he narrowly missed out on the Olympics in 2020. So that foot switch was a little precarious there. Handled it well.
Yeah, in 2020 for that last, or the second, I should say, and last U.S. team spot, it was a real battle between Colin Duffy, Xander Waller, and Zach Galla, who we will see later on in this lead final. Colin Duffy obviously on the team already pre-qualified through the international season, but it is cool to see consistency between those three, especially because they were in contention, all three of them, for that spot. And obviously Nathaniel Coleman here as well, who ended up being the other Olympian. So these boys have shown a lot of consistency, and it's cool to see a mix of some familiar faces as well as some of the younger athletes like Hugo himself.
Exactly, and Xander now into that 30 zone, so between the 30 and the 60 placards, he is going to gain 3 points for every scored hold that he is able to control. We've seen the men in this section already. Xander definitely looking to add to his score. He has a boulder score that was lower than Nathaniel, so he's going to want to ideally get higher than Nathaniel in order to kind of move up in the rankings.
Yeah, you can see him doing a really good job of battling the fatigue. He is really high up on this lead route already, and he did just compete in a really taxing bouldering round less than an hour ago.
I'll say.
So the physical demand on these athletes is extremely high, and already up this high on the route for Xander Waller. A lot of climbing building up, and I think that was just a little bit of a foot boggle, a little bit unexpected for him.
A really difficult route. They are definitely testing the men, especially after all this climbing that they've gone through today and then the qualification round a few days ago. You can see that Xander is quite disappointed with that. Kind of throws his foot out there and just misses it, a little slip there. Maybe moving a little too quickly. I think I remember seeing Nathaniel be really slow through that section, so that's going to put him at an 83.7 combined score from the boulder round and the lead round. So not the score he was looking for, but we still have to see how that affects those overall standings with the other competitions that are being taken into account. So we'll still have to see what happens as Sean Bailey starts walking out, gets a few extra cheers from the crowd. I would say he's kind of a fan favorite for the most part of the crowd here. I feel like people get really excited to see Sean, especially because he honestly spends time away from the States quite often. Was living in Tokyo for quite a bit, and I think he's been back stateside for a little bit, especially preparing for this competition. But, you know, he likes to travel.
Yeah, and he's been getting good experience for sure living in Japan. Obviously great to travel, but I think he's also been learning a lot from the Japanese athletes. Obviously another really strong powerhouse country within the sport of climbing. They have a really strong team, really good gyms, really good facilities, and so I think he's been learning a lot from living there and being there more often.
Exactly, and Japan being the only other country that actually brought full quota to the Tokyo Olympics, the only other country being USA. So another great place to train and learn from some other very talented climbers. Into that 2 points per hold area now. So every scored hold, he's going to be awarded 2 points to his overall score. So added on to that score from the boulder round. Sean, another athlete who is extremely talented at lead climbing and decorated as an athlete, national champion in the past, World Cup lead winner as well in many occasions. So
it's really rare to see an athlete win a World Cup in an individual discipline in two different disciplines.
Yeah.
So Sean has sort of always been one to watch for this new combined format that eliminates the speed factor since the last Olympics. So it's been really cool to see how he's been operating in this new format with the bouldering round and the lead round so close together. He's been one to watch for a long time, and I'm excited to see what he can put down on this lead route here tonight.
Most definitely, and you saw with that close-up, he does have that middle finger on his left hand, pretty heavily taped, likely lost a bit of skin there from all of the rounds that he's climbed in now as he works his way into that 30-point area. So from now until the 60, he's going to get 3 points per hold. So just gaining points with every move. Getting close to that section that we're seeing the men start to struggle at, that more cruxy or difficult section of the route. We haven't seen anyone get past that high foot that Nathaniel tried to use earlier. I could see Sean really liking that move and not really struggling with it too much, but he does have to get there still. And we just saw Xander kind of slip in this section coming up, so we'll have to see what Sean can do.
And you can tell how hard this section is because most of the men here tonight have looked pretty comfortable where Sean is right now, and then all of a sudden fall or something, or get into a position that's a little bit more strenuous or uncomfortable here. So Sean is about to push into this area where we have lost a few athletes. That 60 hold you can see on the right of your screen is our current high point.
And you see he moved into that foothold really slowly. We saw Xander kind of rush it there a little bit, and I think it's just slippery enough. Wow, good little catch there from Sean. It almost looked like he lost it there. And that just speaks to his endurance here. I mean, he's been climbing for so long. He is getting really close to the top of this wall. Oh, and a slip there. Man, really unexpected.
Opposite foot, but a foot slip on the same hold.
Yeah, so that hold is a little more dicey to stand on than maybe they assumed. Definitely had more in the tank, I believe. So We'll have to see what that does to his score. But the fact that this route is a little precarious up there, very similar, honestly, to what the route setters gave them in the semifinal round. You see right there, he grabs that next hold, and when he's going to readjust with his hand, he kind of just slips off it, kind of releasing that foot tension on the hold there for just a millisecond, and that was enough to take him off. So he's going to walk away with a combined score of 108.5, so that puts him right below Nathaniel Coleman. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with more of the men's lead final after that.
You have to fail multiple times to find the right way. But once you find that right flow, and you're gonna be more successful.
Resilience is kind of understanding that like bad things will happen and that like you can turn those into opportunities to grow and become a stronger person.
When I was young, I was one of the only women in climbing. I was the kid at the gym climbing with all the older dudes. I think for me, it was sort of like a proving ground.
I've had those struggles too, that people have been upset that there's been a black person in their gym. And I'm resilient because I don't let it stop me.
Adversity teaches you to fail properly. And if you're not willing to accept failure, then you're never going to learn to grow.
Bro, whatever you can throw at me, like, you're not going to take me away from what I want to do. You can't stop me.
Welcome back to the men's lead final at the USA Climbing 2023 National Team Trials. We have seen some of the men go on the lead route. Nobody has topped it yet. It's proving to be very difficult. And our MC Al is getting the crowd hyped for the next few competitors to come up. Those are our current standings of the athletes that have gotten on the route. So Nathaniel Coleman with a score of 109.8 at the top. Sean Bailey right below him, 108.5. Hugo Hoyer and Xander Waller rounding out the rest of the athletes who have gone so far. So we have 4 more athletes to go on this lead route. And it looks like getting into that 100 range is what you're going to want to do if you're going to end up hopefully getting into that top 5 on the overall standings, but also it's going to depend on what you had coming into this competition, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens there. But right now, Zach Galla, the leader from the Boulder round, stepping out, looking to see what he can do to add to his score from the Boulder round.
And Megan, Nathaniel and Sean being separated by approximately 1 point is a little bit crazy, considering every zone on a boulder is worth 5 points difference, if not 15 points. And when they're getting up onto the latter half of the route, every hold is worth 3 points more than the last, or 4 points more than the last at the top. So for the margins to be that narrow between the top 2 right now is pretty insane.
It is pretty insane and pretty exciting to see something like that play out. Really excited to see what Zach can do here on the lead route. Obviously coming in to the round higher in the point range from the Boulder round is he's in a good situation, but again, he still needs to work his way into somewhere in that 100 range, so he does have a lot of climbing to do.
Yeah, it's always nice to set yourself up well from a bouldering round, getting a lot of points. He does have a significantly higher score than some of the other men, but a lot to play for and a lot of holds for him to grab, I was going to say, but a lot of distance for him to climb up this route in order to get into that 100-point range. But really excited to see what Zach Galla can do. He's stalling out a little bit here, lower down on the route. His feet still on that 10 placard. He's doing a good job of staying patient, making sure that he makes a good decision here, because he needs to get through this section.
Yeah, and again, this route just being a little dicey, so taking the moments to reassess is a really good idea for Zach Galla. Looks like he has found a way through. Really good adjustment there. Now that we can all breathe again, excited to welcome Luke Muring into the booth with us. Thank you, Luke.
Pleased to be here and excited to see my teammate Zach Galla make his way up the wall.
Oh yeah, so true. You guys trained at Stone Summit in Atlanta, Georgia, or Kennesaw and Atlanta, Georgia, together for a long time. Yeah, tell us what you're thinking right now for Zach on this route.
Oh, it's crazy to see him climbing on this route in this finals right now. We grew up competing together on the same team, and Zach has always been insanely strong, and it's through competition that makes you stronger, and I'm glad to have him as a teammate to push me to new heights.
That's awesome, and Zach kind of showing some signs of slowing down low, but now that he's into a groove, it looks like he's kind of found his flow and into a good place to, you know, keep gaining points on this route. So nicely done there. Now he's getting to that crux section, that difficult section where we've seen some of the men have issues. He does look like he has a lot of energy left. It's really cool because I remember watching Zach and, you know, seeing him struggle with that power endurance and just endurance on routes, and it's really cool to see him look like he has a lot left to give on this route.
Oh my God.
Good save there. Needs to be really intentional.
He's in the fight now.
On the feet there.
And now, Megan, he is moving towards that 60-point hold, having 60 points from the bouldering event already, so he is putting himself in a really great position right now to put himself at the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, just gonna lose it there, but phenomenal climbing. Like you said, Allison, the fact that he already had over 60 points coming into this round, he was in a safer position, and the fact that he fell past the at the 60 was really great. And honestly, we mentioned earlier, you know, Pan Am's in 2020 being kind of devastating. Zach ended up second at that competition, so literally missing that Olympic spot by one. So being put in a position again where, you know, after this World Cup season, if it goes well, he could possibly have that opportunity again is huge.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he'll be glad to have that score of 124.7 coming off the lead route. That will put him at the top of the leaderboard. And it seems like that section around that 60-point placard is the hard section. So for him to have gotten up towards that 60-point value, that was really great for him. And I think he'll be really happy with that lead route.
Yeah, he should be so pleased with his climbing today. I felt like he not only performed well, but he stayed so cool, calm, and collected in the semifinal rounds as well in this final round. So really, really great job for Zach Galla. Adam Shahar getting ready to get on the men's final route. Again, an athlete that we have yet to, this is his first appearance in a final at the elite national level, so really cool to see him have that opportunity. Luke, have you known Adam very long?
Me, not personally, but it's like to see the future come up.
Yeah.
And know that this is his first final. It's quite the final to be in.
Right?
It's crazy.
Do you remember your first elite final?
It was last year, actually, at the last team trials.
And what was that?
Bouldering.
What was that like? What's Adam thinking right now?
Oh, right now he's thinking about these jibs and this clip that he's about to get off.
This is true.
Nice clip.
He should be staying present and thinking about the climbing right now for sure. Also,
Yeah.
I've said this a few times, but you know, after you made the final at team trials last year, you were back in finals at bouldering and lead nationals this past November. I always feel like once you've made a final, it gives you that confidence to know that you can again.
Facts.
Do you feel that? Oh, all right.
Yeah, you know your potential, so your expectations change, which can add pressure, but you also know what you're capable of. When you reach a certain level, you have that feeling of what you did to reach that level, and you also know that how far you were from something a little bit beyond that, and oh,
Wow.
obviously foot match.
Oh my gosh.
To this Gaston. But
oh my gosh.
he's got
Whoa.
insane crimps, so he's chilling.
Well, I'm glad he didn't panic as much as we did.
Seems really mentally composed right now.
But that was an interesting comment, Luke. It is a little bit of a catch-22. You make your first finals, and you're able to climb in this more liberated state because you don't have the expectations. But then once you make one, you have the confidence to make another. And it's hard to manage all of those expectations and emotions and pressure. And I'm excited to hopefully see Adam in more finals to come.
For sure.
Exactly. So, Luke, this is the first time you climbed in this format as well. What do you think about it?
I think the trials are a really good name for the competition because it's really like a trial for your body and your strength, your skin, your everything, your mind even. It's late in the night right now. He is aiming up for this super confident left-hand punch.
Honestly, he looked so tired right before that, and he still had all the energy to get there.
Recomposing himself right now. Let those sink into this heel.
Now, Adam came in with some low points from the boulder round, but honestly, he's looking great on this route, really taking a lot of risks, which honestly would make me feel like, you know, he isn't worried and he has more in the tank. So he could change things here if he keeps going past this point we've seen no one else get past.
That's that first finals mentality. You know, you have nothing to lose. And he's climbing like it. Look at this. Oh
wow. Really going for it, leaving everything out on the floor. Adam Shahar with a great showing in this final here tonight.
Yeah,
big things to come. Yeah, matching the high point and also just, again, moving so confidently through. Or I guess they got control of that hold, but
the yellow one.
Right below the high point, especially with that interesting beta down low. Yeah, and getting all those points really going to be great for him. And hopefully he's proud of himself because, you know, the first final, like you're saying, it's a big deal. So he should be proud. Combined score for Adam Shahar of 83.6. And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with our next climber in the lead final.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow, it's just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the TruBlue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you know, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves, and yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
And welcome back to the 2023 USA Climbing National Team Trials. We are at the men's lead final. Quick look at the combined standings right now. Galla on top with that 124.7. Nathaniel Coleman behind him. Him and Sean Bailey so close. And then you see down at the bottom, Bob, Countryman, and Jesse Grupper have yet to climb yet, but those are their scores as they stand from the boulder round. So Jesse Grupper just walking out here. A really good lead specialist. So, and also looking at this route, this is definitely a route that I think Jesse will enjoy climbing on. We kind of want to see someone get past just one hold past that 60 placard, and Jesse Grupper is definitely the man who could do it. He did top the route in the semifinal round, so he also needs a lot of points, so he has a lot to fight for here with that 19.2 score from the boulder round.
Yeah, and you could really hear the crowd getting behind him as he walked out of there, as he straps up his knee brace a little bit tighter. He is coming back from an injury currently. Jesse has a lot of fans in the crowd, and I think the crowd also knows that he is trailing behind after the boulder round, so he does need to have a really good lead climb here, something he is absolutely capable of, but it's not over till it's over, and he really is going to need to execute on this lead route.
And I feel like Jesse's one of those athletes who does a really good job of focusing and staying so present. He's very intentional with his movements. He weighs out his options. I mean, you see him do that in the boulder round as well. And that's kind of the place where you can be a little more risky because you have, you know, a time clock with multiple tries, whereas with lead climbing, you only have that one attempt.
That's interesting. I think Jesse is insanely good at minimizing risk. Just the way he crossed to that black blocked crimp right there was super slow, where I've seen a lot of other competitors take a bit more risk and use their accuracy to hit it with speed. And honestly, if I were in this final, I could see a big chance of me missing that, since it's pink on pink and it's so late right now after climbing 2 rounds in the morning and going through a whole bouldering round. Your mind could be a little bit fuzzy.
That's a really good point.
I mean, even to that point there, we saw a lot of athletes bump their left hand up dynamically to flip it, and Jesse opting for the match.
Wow. Very high left foot, and he is one of the taller athletes.
Very nice footwork to solve that complex puzzle the route setters put up there.
Yeah, and Jesse, you know, we keep saying he's a lead specialist, but it is really his resume that proves it itself. He is a World Cup winner, winning 2 World Cups this past season, and he is pre-qualified for the lead discipline to all the World Cups. So no matter what happens here today, he will be able to compete at those lead World Cups coming up this summer. However, if he wants a chance to qualify for the Olympic Games, which only have a combined discipline, he needs to do well on this lead route right now.
Exactly, which does put him in somewhat of a cushion place. But, you know, again, he wants to compete in the combined. And this is just a reminder here of what's on the line. That first place at this competition gives you 1,200 points to add to your score that you've already accumulated from nationals and any World Cups from last season. So they're all gunning for that 1,200 point spot. Right now, Zach Galla is in that position, and Jesse Grupper is trying to do everything he can to take that away from him.
Yeah, and I think the crowd just cheering a little bit there. I think they thought Jesse was looking at them. In reality, I think he was looking at the clock.
Checking at that time.
He was looking at the clock. We mentioned this in the semifinal round. Jesse is one of those athletes that could run out the clock and has run out the clock. That 6-minute clock he needs to be mindful of, and most athletes don't need to worry about it as much.
Super accurate punch to that left crimp. That's like a really scary and confident move.
It is scary, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, Luke, Jesse is always really controlled and methodical, and those moments where he does have to be a little bit punchy, I always hold my breath for a second.
Yeah, because it's a little out of character for him, but he does have it in his wheelhouse. He just chooses to use it not as often as maybe some other athletes. Man, the crowd is so loud, I feel like I have to shout to be able to talk over them right now.
I mean, they're rightfully loud. This is the moment.
Oh, no. And Jesse was going to need to do more than that to move up in the rankings here. We'll have to see how that affects his overall score, combining with nationals and World Cups. Just kind of undershoots it and slips again. We saw Sean Bailey slip there as well. That side of the hold is not really where you're supposed to generally stand on it. They're kind of forced to, but it's such a low profile, it's hard to actually apply that pressure. So a combined score of 79.3 is going to not put him in a great place.
It's good commitment to his beta, though.
It is good commitment.
He's fully committed to that.
I like the positivity, Luke.
Yeah, no regrets. I try to learn it from him. He's always really positive.
He is always really positive. A quick look at our current leader, Zach Galla, in a pretty comfy spot right now with the 124.7 at the top of the leaderboard. Jesse Grupper moving above Dylan Bob Countryman, but Dylan has yet to climb, so he still has a chance to move up above Jesse, and it's really just going to be interesting to see what happens, and I'm so curious how it's going to reflect in those overall standings.
And Megan, like you said, Zach Galla does have a pretty good cushion right now at the top of the leaderboard. However, I think I can say that this is definitely the closest the scores have felt in any of our rounds that we've seen here this weekend. All the men were really close in the bouldering round. This lead route is proving to be very difficult in about a similar section, all the athletes getting to a similar point, so the margins are really narrow, and Dylan Countryman here is going to be looking for a really good performance on the lead route in order to allow himself to stand out on that leaderboard.
Exactly, and with this being Dylan's second season on the elite circuit, you know, he really wants to start gaining that World Cup experience. So making the team would be really important for him to start doing that. And like I said earlier, it's really nice if you can get that opportunity when you are on the younger side of the competition, because your career is just getting started. So it's kind of huge.
Nice control on this cross. It's looking good. Thinking.
Yeah, he always does a good job of thinking as he goes and making sure. I don't know, he's definitely very calculated, but he also takes, I would say, calculated risks.
Oh, like that one.
Yeah. Oof. Ah, the shoulders there. Oh, my goodness.
A little bit of Houdini foot matching action right there.
You know, being able to stay calm in those moments is so difficult. So every time we see that happen, it's really just so impressive.
Nice. Looking good.
Yeah, he's finding that jib, yeah.
Getting those clips done well, too.
See how hard he's breathing. Doing a good job of maintaining that breath.
Yeah, I was going to say that's always so important to make sure you're getting as much oxygen into your body as you're trying to fight the pump on your way up this wall.
Not resting here like Jesse. Just going straight in.
I have noticed that Dylan doesn't seem to rest as much on routes. Seems to like to keep moving and keep it pretty fluid.
Very punchy style.
And here we go. This will be the telling moment for Dylan Countryman as he moves out towards the right, towards this 60-point hold. We're really getting into the cruxy section of this route where we've lost most of our athletes. Boggling it a little bit.
Whoa! And isn't going to get control of that 60. So able to gain some points, but not able to surpass Zach Galla in the leaderboard there. It's not going to be enough, but great climbing there from Dylan, Bob Countryman. Kind of just lost it. That foot is just so slippery.
Wow.
Woo, very nail-biting round of climbing from the men.
You can see the look on Dylan's face. I think he's just trying to communicate by facial expressions into what that means with maybe his coaches or his family.
Kind of like Kyra was saying in the semifinal round, you're kind of scanning the crowd to see if someone who you know or who you know is rooting for you knows if that was enough to get you where you need to be.
Megan, there's a look at our winner of this team trials event, Zach Galla, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the first combined event for the last Olympic format that was held in the U.S. was also won by Zach Galla?
It was won by Zach Galla. You are right. That is so true. So, you know, not really new to Zach to win one of those events, but that's a quick look at how this competition shaped up. Zach Galla is your winner of the national team trials. We'll have to see how that reflects in the overall standings. I do believe that he is in a pretty safe position at this point. We should be seeing him on the World Cup circuit, and we'll have to see who else ends up making that team in a bit. But I think I'm going to see if I can go catch up with Zach Galla and be back in a little bit. Thank you again, Luke, so much for joining us. And you can hang out with Allison, keep her company while we try to go snag an interview from Zach.
Thanks so much for having me.
Luke, what is it like being able to train with somebody like Zach, who is so calm under pressure and has this ability to fight through uncomfortable situations and through really powerful moves?
Kind of shows you like the limits of human possibility. He's like one of the strongest boulderers on this earth, and I've seen him do boulders outside that are just absolutely insane in terms of like crimping ability, compression, the whole gamut. And it's really inspiring. It always keeps you like on top of your game. Having someone like that push you.
Yeah, and speaking of inspiring, I think Sean Bailey does that too for a lot of the next generation. He's been so consistently at the top of the leaderboard, as well as Nathaniel Coleman, obviously the silver medalist at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. This is a big deal for him. We will see what that does to his national ranking, but that is a strong podium right there. Those boys have been around for a long time.
What a crew.
Already not super old, but are some of the older athletes in this final. And really impressive climbing from those three tonight.
Yeah, their mental strength, I think, really shone through. Especially, I was impressed by Nathaniel's attempt on the last boulder.
Let's hear what they're saying inside. I'll toss it down to Al on the floor. Just kidding, it looks like they were done. He just announced those three as the podium for this team trials event. There will be an official podium happening a little later, so if you hang around, stay tuned. We will announce those guys as the podium finishers for this event, give them their medals, as well as announce who are those top 5 in the national ranking who will join Colin Duffy, once again, our pre-qualified international athlete on the World Cup circuit this year. All right, and Megan Martin is down on the floor with our winner, Zach Galla. Let's hear what he has to say.
Zach, congratulations on winning the national team trials and earning yourself a spot on the national team to compete in the World Cups this year. I was reflecting on, Tokyo 2020, and you narrowly missed making the team there. How does it feel to have that opportunity to get back there again?
It feels really good. Earlier this season, I've had a bunch of mixed feelings about competing. I had a really subpar performance at nationals, and I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to pull up the slack here at team trials, but I really locked in and tried to dial in my competition skills, and then it ended up working out, so I'm excited. And I'm excited to have another shot.
We're so excited for you, and I have to say it's been really cool to watch the evolution of your lead climbing. I feel like at this competition I felt like I was watching a whole different Zach Galla on the lead routes. How much training did you put into really improving upon your performance in lead?
A fair amount. I definitely neglected it fully in the past. It's just not something I'd ever get on except for a couple weeks before the competition. But the last 2 months I've really dialed in and tried to get really heavy volume to simulate what this competition was going to be like. So I was doing boulder sessions in the morning and then a lot of lead after that. So it ended up paying off. I feel like my endurance coming in, and I feel a lot more confident on the routes. So
you truly look like a lead specialist out there. I'm so proud of you, and congratulations again on being the national team trials champion and making the team. And we can't wait to see you in the World Cups this season. And best of luck.
Thank you so much, Megan. I'm excited. I'm stoked.
So great to hear from Zach Galla down there on the floor. Here is our national ranking so far. We have Sean Bailey on the top of the leaderboard. Again, that is because of his results in past competitions, namely at the World Cup events. He does come out on top with over 2,000 points up there, followed closely by Zach Galla. And the third place spot there is Dylan Countryman. Nathaniel Coleman coming in 4th there. He really needed to have a good performance at this team trials event because of missing the last international season. And Jesse Grupper rounding out those 5 in that 5th place spot, in addition to Colin Duffy, who is pre-selected to the team. So that is our national team moving into this next season. Luke, I know this probably wasn't the competition you were looking for, but I hope it only fuels the fire to keep training for the next one. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your insight.
No problem. It was a learning experience. Thank you so much.
And thank you all for joining us for the team trials event. Stick around. We're going to do the podium. We're going to announce the national team. But for now, we'll throw it down and leave you with Al, our MC in-house, on the floor. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow is just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the TruBlue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you know, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves, and yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
One more time, I'm looking for Zach Galla, Nathaniel Coleman, Sean Bailey, and Jesse Grupper. Please report to the staging area. We need you. We've got medals to give. Happy James or Glenn, if you could turn that music down just a bit, we're going to jump into our award ceremony. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for the awards ceremony for the 2023 National Team Trials presented by YETI at Mesa Rim Climbing Center in Austin, Texas. At this time, we would like to again thank our amazing partners, our founding partner, the North Face, YETI, Prudential, EP Climbing Walls, PETZL, Gnarly Nutrition, TruBlue Autobelays, and Grasshopper Climbing. Once again, it is true that none of this would be possible without their support. Awards will be presented by Mark Norman, CEO of USA Climbing, Connie Leitner, member of the USA Climbing Board of Directors, and Casey College, Mesa Rim Austin site manager. Now please welcome the men's boulder and lead medalists. Gentlemen, right this way. Let's bring him in right, Austin. Let's hear it. You're almost done. In third place, taking the bronze medal, Sean Bailey. In second place, taking the silver medal, Nathaniel Coleman. And in first place, taking the gold medal and winning the men's boulder and lead discipline, Galla. Gentlemen, yeah, clump together, get that group shot. It's a bit of a tradition by now. And I'd like to add as well that these three gentlemen are the three newest members of our 2023 national team. And y'all can't go anywhere. Stay right here. Stay with me, please. Gentlemen, don't go quite yet. I need to present the rest of our team. That's all right. I can't force you to do it, but I can beg, and I will. We got two more to add to your little squad. It's Dylan Countryman and Jesse Grupper. Let's bring them out. We got another picture to take. And in addition, our pre-selected athlete not present today, Colin Duffy, our men's national team is selected. There you have it. All right, I think we got the shot. Now you can go. Thank you so much. Y'all are sensational. Wow. All right, that's the show. We did it. We made it. We got a quick announcement for our competitors. There is a team meeting in ISO, national team and national development team. Immediately following the show.
Whether you're alpine climbing or cragging after work, Gnarly Nutrition is here to help you push your possible.